Sometimes those doors that closed are the ones that would have destroyed you entirely if they stayed open. A lot of times we don't see what God sees. I could tell you from my personal experience how closed doors are sometimes a blessing in disguise. I remember vividly when I was in Nigeria playing basketball, and this was in 2014. I had a call from a coach in the United States, and he reached out to me saying, he's seen my video and he would love to invite me to the United States to play basketball. Let me tell you, I was so excited. I was so happy. I thought God has answered my prayers. But let me tell you something. Along the whole process, everything was going as planned. I paid for my visa fee, I paid for my service fee. At this time, my mother was the one sponsoring me. And one of the things she told me was she was so happy that our son is about to go to the United States to pursue basketball. And while everything was going, in my head, it made so much sense. During the time I went for my visa interview was in September. My birthday in September. I thought, God, this is the perfect gift. This is the perfect time for me to be able to travel to the United States of America. After all, I have always dreamt of, being in another land. I can't really pinpoint the exact location, but growing up as a kid in Nigeria, I have always seen myself amongst different people of different cultures and different colors. I'm talking white, blue, green, red, all types of, people. So while all of this was going on, in my mind, it made sense. In my family's mind, it made sense. I spoke to my family here in the United States and said, hey, I am coming to the United States. I got an opportunity and I am so excited for it. I talked to all my friends back in Nigeria and everybody was so happy. Along the way, things were going as planned. And I remember me and my dad, we traveled to Abuja, from Lagos to Abuja. It's about an hour and a half if you fly. If you drive, it's about 8-9 hours, sometimes 10, maybe more, depending on traffic. But on that blessed day when me and my father left Lagos, we took a public transportation. I could barely fit in the bus. My legs was tight. I was cramping. I was like squished in this public vehicle for about 12 hours. We got to Abuja. We could not afford to stay in a hotel, so we slept at the bus terminal. The following day, we went to Abuja, which was where my visa interview was going to happen. On this day, I was so happy. My father was happy. My family was happy. My friends were happy. Everybody were happy because we figured this is what God is doing for us, and we were so excited about it, right? And as soon as we went for the interview, the first question the consular officer asked me was, you lived in Lagos, you was born in Lagos, you went to school in Lagos. Why are you coming to Abuja for your visa interview? That question caught me by surprise, right? And I was like, whoa, I never thought about that, right? So next thing you know, the officer told me, sorry, at this time, your visa has been denied. I was like, what? My visa has been denied? After all the money, time, effort that we've put into this process. And I was shocked. I was shocked. I just, I just like I am so like dumbfounded right now was the same feeling I had back then. And on our way back to Lagos, my father is telling me not to worry. He was consoling me, my friends, my family, everybody told me, you know what, God's plan, God's plan. In fact, during that time, I questioned God. I questioned if God was real. I questioned if the dreams he was showing me were only a teaser. Let me tell you something. God is a man of his word. Whatever God says, he's going to do. So fast forward to December of that same year. You know, I was in Nigeria, got back, re-enrolled back into school. I was just doing my thing. And at this time, my family told me, look, we don't have the financial capability to support your next journey. However, what we could do for you is to re-enroll you into school and then just carry on with your life. I was so sad, you know, I felt defeated. I felt, you know, very, very terrible. In fact, some of my friends even mocked me and told me, who do I think I was if I were, you know, trying to leave them in Nigeria, going to the United States, all of that stuff. So fast forward to December, I got another message from another person on Facebook. Now, this person told me, hey, I have an opportunity for you. You need to come to the United States, blah, 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 blah. I said, look, number A, let's call this person Andrew, right? The first person who reached out to me, let's say their name is Andrew. And then the other person reaching out to me now, let's say their name is, what? Larry, right? So Andrew and Larry. Andrew reached out to me the first time, went to the visa interview, got denied. I told Andrew, hey, it didn't work. So Andrew left me alone. Meanwhile, Andrew is a pastor in North Carolina. Now, Larry on the other hand, Larry came to me and he said, you need to apply, you need to X, Y, and Z. And I told Larry, hey, I don't have the zeal, I don't have the motivation, I don't have the financial capability to embark on this journey. And he told me, he said, just give it a try, just give it a try. I said, no, I'm not. In fact, he called me, I would not answer his phone. So Larry kept disturbing me and telling me to apply, to apply, to apply. Now, I went back to my mom and my dad and I said, hey, this is what I want to do. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but I think maybe it can work this time. And my parents literally screamed at me and they told me, this is never going to happen. I need to take that dream of me leaving Nigeria. I need to take it out of my mind and throw it out in the gutter. I'm like, throw it out in the gutter? They say yes, because they don't have any financial capability to help me fund this dream. So I gave up. I went back to Larry. I said, hey, Larry, my family cannot afford it, blah, blah, blah. Larry said, do you have any friends that you could get loans from? Do you have anybody you could talk to borrow you some money? I said, I have a little bit of savings and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, right? I reapplied for the visa the second time. The second time I reapplied, on the day of my interview, the day before my interview, I told my mom, I'm going to the embassy and I want her to come with me. My mom was shocked. She was like, how did you do it? What happened? Where did you see money? Like, who helped you? Are you selling drugs? Are you doing... I said, Mom, no, I'm not doing anything. You know, I just wanted to try again and just go. So now my mom came with me and we went to the embassy. This time we were in Lagos. So we went to Lagos. It was about like an hour and a half from where we lived at the time. And then we got there. From the moment we got to the embassy, I promise you, everybody started falling in love with me. From the security to the patrons to like everybody in that environment started saying, hey, hi. People were just like saying hello to me from left and right. That was when I realized God was with me. That was the moment I realized something miraculous is going to happen today. So fast forward to the time when I got in front of the officer. Meanwhile, I had a friend of mine who was also at the embassy on that day. So my friend was in front of me. I was at the back. I was behind her. So when they called her, she was number 6. I was number 7. Or I can't remember the number placement, but she was one step ahead of me. I was literally the next person. So she was in one window. I was in another window next to her. So when they called me to go for the interview, the officer started asking me questions. And I was answering questions after questions, questions after questions, questions after questions. And I kept answering. And she asked me one question. And I just froze. In that moment, I didn't know what to say. And what the officer did blew my mind. The officer took the microphone and then She took the microphone, or he or she, I can't remember, took the microphone, put it to the side, whispered under the plexiglass, because there's like a glass in between. She whispered under the plexiglass and told me what to say. Brought back the microphone, tapped the microphone in the head and said, oh, I'm sorry, this microphone is not working. To ask you the question again, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. What is your answer? In that moment, it felt unreal. That was when I realized God will break protocols for you. If God has assigned something for you, it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter what happens. That thing will come to pass. If God has your gift, and if God has a gift for you and your name is on it, you will receive that gift. And as soon as I said the answer back to her, she said, come back in 2 or 3 business days and pick up your visa. I was shocked. This was the moment that literally changed my entire life. This was the moment that literally changed my entire generation. That one moment where God intervened for me. That one moment where God stood up and gave me the answer. And let me tell you, I don't know about you, but me, I have never seen anything of that magnitude happen in the history of people going for visa interview. It's like going to write an exam, and then as soon as you get to the exam center, the person who's supposed to supervise you at the exam is the one giving you answers to your exam, to the questions to your exam. That can only be the power of God. That moment, I started crying. I looked at my mother and I just started weeping. I was crying like a baby. My mother was crying like a baby. And we were both going outside. Excuse me. We were both going outside. So while we got outside, people saw us coming. I was crying. My mother was crying. I was crying. My mother was crying. So people didn't really know what was going on. Did they get the visa or they didn't? Did they get approved or they got denied? Nobody knew. So once we got outside, my friend said, oh, I saw you. You tried your best to, oh my God, you tried your best to, maybe try again next time. That was what my friend was saying to me. But my friend did not know that my visa got approved. I am saying all of this to tell you that sometimes when the door is closed, it is closed for a reason. When a door is being shut, God is shutting that door for a reason. He is trying to tell you that He is God. He is the unchangeable changer. That's how we say it in Nigeria. We say, God is the unchangeable changer. And that moment literally changed everything for me. Now, I'm going somewhere. I need you to stay with me. I'm going somewhere. So we got home. Once we got home, I started informing all my family members. Started calling my grandma, started calling my grandfather, started telling my aunties, my uncles, this is what God has done for me, right? And before you know it, I made a promise earlier before I went for the visa interview. I made a promise to God. I said, God, if you could do this for me, I am going to testify and let people know how powerful you are. So I went to church and shared my testimony. The whole time, my mom, my daddy told me, zip your mouth, don't tell anybody. Because in Nigeria, when you get a visa, you don't tell nobody. It's like a secret. You don't say it to nobody, right? But I already made a promise to God. I said, hey, God, if you do this for me, this is what I'm going to do. But my parents are saying, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I said, no, Dad, no, Mom. This is what I promised God that I wanted to do. Long story short, I went to church, shared my testimony, and I went home. As soon as I got home, my phone rang. Someone called me, right? It was from the church. Someone called me and said, hey, this is blah, 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 blah from the pastor in the church. A woman wants to see you. Somebody wants to see you in church. They heard your testimony and they want to talk to you before you travel. I was like, talk to me for what? In my head, I'm thinking, this is what my parents was telling me not to do. My parents told me not to give a testimony in church. Now somebody's inviting me to come talk about it in church. So before I give the testimony, my parents already said, you know what? we're gonna wait for 6, 7 months to save up money so that we could afford your flight, right? My parents were determined to save up to like 6, 7 months of savings, and then I was gonna wait for that long period of time before they're able to pay for my flight. Again, my family cannot really afford my flight and a lot of things at the time. So I went to go see the lady that wanted to see me at church, and then this lady told me, hey, I've seen you all this while in church. You're very active. You dance a lot during praise and worship section. You are very you participate in church. And I see you a lot of times. I always say to myself that I want to help you, but I don't know what capacity. I don't know in what capacity that I can help you. But as soon as you give your testimony, the Spirit told me to buy your flight ticket. I was like, whoa, buy my flight ticket? Yo, this is literally answered prayers. So this woman went ahead, gave me money to pay for my flight, gave me extra $200 as a pocket money in case I need to buy one or two things on my way to the US. And honest to God, my family were very surprised. And that was when I realized that when God has given you something, He will start it with you and it will finish it with you. When God puts something in your mind, when God gives you a project, when God assigns you something or sends you on a journey, He will assign helpers on your way. He will bring destiny helpers for you. So I went from getting denied to getting a visa to having my flight paid plus extra $200. And I split the $200 into two, gave my family $100, and I kept the other $100 and I came to the US. And all of this happened within a week. I am going somewhere. I need you to stay with me. I am going somewhere. This testimony I'm sharing today, a lot of people don't know about it. I think the people who knew about it are literally like my family members, right? A lot of people don't really know this testimony. So fast forward, now I'm living in the United States, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm in the US. All of a sudden, one day, I saw in the news. So remember my first visa interview that got denied? The school I was supposed to go to? One day, I saw in the news that students from that school were victims of human trafficking. Yo, this blew my mind. I was like, whoa. A lot of students from that school that way from Nigeria, especially Nigeria, were victims of human trafficking. And I remember at the time, I had a friend who we went to the embassy together at the time. He also played basketball. He got his visa approved when I got my visa denied. But we were still in touch. We stayed in touch. We would text here and there. And I reached out to him and he told me, like, God literally saved me. Because if my visa was approved from the first time, I would have also been a victim of the human trafficking. And this news got like a national attention. And actually, I think 3 or 4 of my friends, actually 5 of them are people that I know, were victims of this human trafficking ring. And honest to God, one of them got deported to Nigeria. And well, I don't know if she got deported or not, but they went back to Nigeria. They couldn't make it back. Another one went back to Nigeria. Took them 2 years to come back to the US. Another one, but basically all of them had to really like go through those moments. Some of them traveled back to Nigeria and they couldn't make it. Some made it back. But the fact that God saved me from what I did not see many years ago spoke a lot to me. And ever since, whenever I am doing something and it's not working out in my favor, I say to myself, God is putting me on a better plan. If I apply to a job and I don't get that job, I say to myself, God is preparing something better for me. If I am asking for something and that thing is not happening right in that moment, I say to myself, God is preparing me for something better. And let me tell you, this is the This is the God we serve. A God that sees the beginning and the ending. A God that knows our life trajectory. He knows us. He formed us. He created us. He knows what you want even before you were existed. Even before you were given birth to, God literally knows. He knows what you want. He knows what you. It's like giving birth to a child. You know, okay, when I have a child, you know, they need the diaper, they need the diapers, they need the clothes, they need the water bottle, they need this and that. They need to go to school. They need to get picked up. You know what the child is gonna need, right? And what they want. That is literally God. God created us in a way because He knows us even before we were formed. He gave us our names even before we were formed. So, my message today is simple. Trust in God and you will never fail. Trust in God and you will never fail. This has been my story. This has been my testimony of how God has done many, many amazing things for me. And I just want to use this to encourage you not to lose hope. I want to use this to encourage you not to lose faith. You know, it might take a while, but trust God. God knows what He's doing. That door that you're knocking at, He would open it when the door is ready. You don't know what's going on in that room that you're trying to get into. You don't know what's going on in that school you're trying to get into that job, into the organization you're trying to get into. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why God is stalling and keeping you from jumping into those things. So stay strong. I know waiting times can be long. I know they can be tiring. I know they can be brutal sometimes. I know sometimes it makes you feel like, it makes you question if God existed. Like, I've been in this situation before. And I just want to encourage you today to not give up. Trust God, and God will come through for you. Remember, God has great promises for us. And use that as your point of prayers and say, hey God, your promises for me. You promised me X, Y, and Z in the Bible. You promised to give me a future and hope. Lord, honor your promises. And God is the only person. God is the only thing. God is the only thing, only person that honors His own promises. So I hope this message blesses you. My name is Olanrewaju. If my message blesses you in a way, please follow, like, share my story, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's grow together. You know, let's grow together. I am so privileged and honored to have been able to share my story with you today. And I hope that life treats you well. And I hope in this moment of waiting that God is going to be preparing something better for you. And when that thing comes, you'll be surprised. You'll be happy. You'll be fulfilled. And then you know, and you would know that God is real. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.